Hi there, I'm Dr. Jessica Parker, the owner of the Writing Center, and I am coming to you with a new blog post. I decided to start recording a short video to accompany our blog post because I think it's honestly more engaging. I think we're all, especially as an academic, sometimes we get tired of reading. So hopefully you find this helpful. This blog post is all about how you approach organizing and structuring a research article. I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second. Okay. So the blog post is called Navigating the Organizational Maze, Creating Order and Balance. And we use this analogy of an hourglass to take you through top to bottom, the headings or the major headings in a research article. So as you are likely aware, if you're writing a research article in a peer-reviewed journal, it likely has these major headings: introduction, methods, results, and discussion/conclusion. These are the headings that would be expected in an original research article, maybe not in a short report or a brief communication. But in terms of how you're organizing your text within those sections, using the hourglass analogy. We're thinking about starting general by broadly describing the field of study that you're in, then going to the specific, which is when you're presenting your study's methods and your results, and then going back general again, where you're discussing the results of your study in light of the existing literature, and then drawing conclusions so that you can hopefully generalize or transfer your results outside of maybe the very specific context or setting of your research. And so in line with this idea of structuring and organizing your paper, as if you've ever published before, then you know the challenge of, I'm going to scroll down here, of balancing the word count. And so this is something that I was recently reminded of. Kimberly and I just co-authored 2 manuscripts on the use of generative AI in education. And we were faced with word count issues. We had to significantly trim each manuscript to meet the word count. And so if this is something that you're struggling with, you can look to existing articles that have been recently published within your target journal to give you an idea of how to sort of balance the word count in each of these sections. So I'm going to show you an example. Here is an article. Let me zoom in. So this is an article on examining science education in ChatGPT in this exploratory study. So even though the heading introduction isn't here, we know that this is the introduction to the article. And just like in the hourglass, you can see that the authors are starting general. They're broadly talking about artificial intelligence in the field of education. And then they narrow to focus on ChatGPT. So they're slowly going from general to specific because their study is specifically focused on ChatGPT, which is a form of generative AI. And then it gets even more specific with their methodology. Again, the results are very specific to their study. And then you transition to, let me scroll through the results here, the discussion section. And this author has organized their discussion according to their research question. So this is where it's helpful to look at recent articles that have been published in your target journal. It doesn't mean that you have to structure your paper the same way. So maybe you see an article in the current issue that organizes the discussion by research question, and another article in a previous issue doesn't organize by research question. It doesn't mean that you have to choose one of those options, but I think, again, if you're just getting started publishing, it can just help you make decisions and give you some ideas about how to structure your research article. And then we can go, keep scrolling. This is again organized by research question. And then the conclusion here is pretty short. This is 1 paragraph. And so if you're in a situation like Kimberly and I were recently in, and you're trying to decide how to balance the word count, and so let's say this was your target journal, the Journal of Science, Education, and Technology. Maybe you look at this, maybe you take the whole word count and you think of, okay, of the maybe 3,000 words, how much of that was the introduction? As you can see here, the introduction, let me just zoom out instead of scrolling. The introduction is, I don't know how many words that is, but you can see that it would be a couple of paragraphs. And then there's a longer sort of introduction into ChatGPT. The methodology is relatively short. The results are quite extensive. The results span several pages and even includes a table. And then you could look at the discussion. So maybe at the end of the day, you notice that the introduction makes up 25% of the article, the methods make up 15%, the results make up 30%. This can give you ideas about how to sort of balance the word count within each of these sections of writing. And so at the end of the day, I find that this sort of visual, this analogy of the hourglass is incredibly helpful. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Feel free to leave a comment, or if you have questions about any of this advice, feel free to reach out to us at hello@theacademicwritingcenter.com. Thanks.